And we are live. Welcome, homemakers.
Yay!
Welcome. I am so glad you were able to join us today. And on today's live stream, this is the last show of 2024. The
Ooh,
last show of 2024. So as we look forward to 2025, Miss Leona and I want to share with you 25 practical and inspiring tips to help make 2025 your best year ever as a homemaker. And these tips are going to focus on family, home management, self care, and frugality. Because what the two of us have known with our more than 75 years of homemaking, 53 for me, and I think it's 46 for you?
48.
48. So between
Mhm.
all of our years of homemaking, my math is bad. What we know is that family is the heart of what we do,
That's right.
that a well run home doesn't have to break the bank,
Mm.
and that systems and organizations make our job easier. So we're going to give you guys some tips, on some of those different things. So if
Mhm.
you're ready to reconnect with family, refresh your routines, and embrace the joy of a simpler, more intentional home in 2025, grab your notebook and let's get started. So, Leona, why
Yeah.
don't you start us off with the first tip of 2025?
Woo! Our first tip is that we are going to refresh our homemaking goals. And what that means is that we're going to take those goals, we're going to set specific goals and measurable goals for our home. And, we have to be reasonable with that.
Hmm.
That means whether or not, we might be decluttering, whether we're decluttering in the home, we may pick out a room, we may declutter in the kitchen, but when you declutter, wherever it is, you're not going to tackle the entire house at one time.
Yes,
You're going to take small steps along the way because we want you to finish what you start.
absolutely. And the one thing to think about when you talk about refreshing your homemaking goals, sometimes we'll be real broad. I just
Mhm.
want to have a nice, cozy home for 2025. But you can't measure that. So I'm glad you said it needs to be measurable. So when we talk about something that's measurable, what are some things that we might consider doing to make our home cozy for 2025?
Well, let's think about that. I don't know. I have a morning routine,
Hmm.
and everybody doesn't have that. And I can think of times in the past when I didn't have that morning routine. And
Hmm.
without that morning or evening routine, then I was a little scattered and it made me anxious. And I would either get up and I was frantic trying to get out and get the kids out and get the husband out, or I was exhausted at the end of the night because I knew I was going to have to face that sink of dishes the next morning that I didn't get done. And so you really do need to have and establish a morning routine, and you need to have an evening reset, because the reason for that is because you want to wake up in the next morning, have a clean,
Hmm.
reasonably clean house that you can smile and say, okay.
Have that breath. Well, and one thing, my daughter was on several months ago and she
Mhm,
talked about working moms and that kind of thing. But
mhm,
one of the things that she did mention was that you want to direct your day. And one of
mhm.
the ways that we can do that is to have a morning routine that works for us.
That's right.
Now, I'm going to say that again, a morning routine that works for us.
That's right. Because my routine may not work for you.
Hmm.
And, it just depends. It depends. We have children, our husbands at different places. And, each of us have certain specialties and certain uniqueness, certain unique qualities that are within our home that we need to make sure that we have accounted for. So when we're setting those reasonable routines,
I
then
like the
we
word
have to take,
reasonable.
yeah, we have to take all of that into consideration and understand too, because this month our morning routine was like this. That doesn't mean the next month is going to be exactly the same. You may have to tweak it along the way.
I am so glad you said that because if you think about it right now, in my household, it's just me and hubby, and things are fine and they kind of go the same way. But next week, we're going to have company here that gets here early in the week, so the routines are going to be off. And then I also know that the school systems in our city,
Mhm.
Friday is their last day. That
Oh,
means all the kids are going to be home with mom, or they're going to have to figure out something different to do with them for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So when we talk about those morning routines can change, and they do change. And if you have a new baby, or that new baby moves from one season to another. So yeah, you do have to get a system that works for you. And I think sometimes getting up earlier, and if you don't do this already, getting up at least 30 to 45 minutes before your family can just help get your day started. That way you can take care of you
mhm.
so that you're not frantic and rushing around or anything like that.
Well, and one thing too to add to that, you were talking about getting up early to get started and to get yourself started.
Mhm.
But same goes with the evening reset in that we're able to mentally put together what we need for the next day. So if it's setting out the clothes, if it's a certain things that we're going to need for breakfast, we can certainly set those things up so that we don't have to. I know I was bad about this. I would think about it at 3 o'clock in the morning. The little brain would start going, and I'm thinking about, oh, what am I going to wear? Where are my shoes? Where is so and so's shoes? And so you want to make sure that that evening reset, it is as important as the morning routine.
And part of that evening reset is going to be have those book bags filled and sitting by the door, those permission slips signed and tucked in the book bag, have
Mhm.
lunches made and in the refrigerator if you have to make lunches. So when they get ready to go out the door, you can hand them to them and they can drop them in the bag.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I remember Angel from Habits of a Homemaker
Mhm.
was on with us once, and she talked about, excuse me, got a frog in my throat all of a sudden. But she talked about that if she didn't have her kitchen and her evening routine completed, so that when she came into the kitchen in the morning, she was ready to meet the needs of her family.
Mhm.
They were anxious, she was anxious, and then most people's day didn't get off to a good start. So yes, and then I see we've got a Carol over here saying there's nothing worse than waking up to stinky, chunky dishwater. So that is
You are
definitely true.
absolutely right.
So I've got Hillary here. So hello, Ethel. And she says that she did set the notification as a reminder. So she's glad to be here. And then Tammy is here with us again this week. Tammy, you're home 2 weeks in a row from church on Wednesday night. So we're glad you were able to join us.
Mhm.
And then here's Jerry Barber. She's the one that was asking about the casserole recipe. So Jerry, we're going to have to get it to you.
We'll get it to you. And Jerry, this week I'm going to be doing a live and putting that casserole together. So just be on the lookout for the casserole being made this week, and you'll have the recipe with it.
All right, Jerry. So now you heard it from our cook extraordinaire. So you definitely want to make sure you watch that, as well as all the rest of you, because when Miss Leona starts doing her holiday baking, you want to be a on the wall. And then we've got Anne
Oh,
from
Anne is here.
Sweden.
Yay.
Here. This is one of Leona's babies.
She's
All
from
the way
Scotland.
from Scotland.
Hmm.
What time is it there?
Yeah.
I wonder. And then there's Michelle. She missed some of the lives as four of their kids were in the
No,
Nutcracker.
I know. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Well, Michelle, we're glad to have you here tonight. And then there's DJ Whitmore. And of course, Carol has been so kind in joining us lately. Carol, we're so glad to see you.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to go on to, well, one of the other tips, the other caveats under the tip of
Mhm.
refreshing your home was deep cleaning one area or each month. And that's something that when I do my zone cleaning, that's kind of what I do. When I
Mhm.
go from one zone to another, I'm focusing on a different zone each week and I'm doing a deep cleaning there. But some people don't like to do it that way. Some people like to focus on one area to deep clean and get that done. So, we'll see what people have to say about that a little bit later on.
Well, a good question to ask is whether or not our viewers zone clean or do they project clean? Like I know I used to do all the vacuuming one day. And
Mhm.
then I would do all the dusting one day. And so, some people do it that way and some do the zone. So I'm curious to see what the going trend is.
Yes, thank you. So there in the chat, Miss Leona has asked you guys, so how do you like to clean? Do you do zone cleaning? Do you like to work on one room each day? What trips your trigger? How do you like to do it? Or are you in search of a system that you need? So let us know about that, because if you're in search of a system, that's something we can certainly address as we move into 2025. And then, so tip number two, Leona, is to start a cleaning routine that works for you. And I'm going to say that
Oh.
again. Start a cleaning routine that works for you. So I use the Fly Lady cleaning method. I
Mhm.
wish I had learned that method when I was younger,
Mhm.
because I didn't know that method. And I would just try to run through and clean up the whole house every evening after work. And I was exhausted by the time I got off work, and it didn't always work out the way the way I wanted it to.
Mhm.
So now that I'm doing the Fly Lady cleaning routine, I'll do my daily routines, which is, my daily swish and swipe in the bathroom, wipe down the mirror, clean the toilet, start a load of laundry, unload the dishwasher, or unload the dishes on the counter since my dishwasher is broken, that kind of thing. What's your daily routine like?
Well, my routine is I do laundry every day, a load of laundry every day,
Yeah.
laundry in and laundry out.
Hmm.
And I also, at this point, I have adopted the Fly Lady method. And but at the beginning, I did like you. I didn't know the Fly Lady method. That wasn't what my mom did. My mom took a Saturday. She got up bright and early on Saturday morning and she cleaned until she couldn't clean anymore. But
Hmm.
when she stopped, the entire house was spotless, but she was exhausted. She
Right.
couldn't do anything else. And so I like Fly Lady because of the fact that it does allow you to still have enough energy to be able to spend time with the family, to focus on other things other than just cleaning the house. And
Hmm.
that's important.
Okay. And now I'm going to put a note. Let us see this note here. We've got a couple responses here. So, DJ Whitmore says that she's a zone cleaner. And then Tammy says she does a whole room at a time. Is that
Mhm.
zone cleaning? And sort of, Tammy, but when you look at zone cleaning, the way Fly Lady system works, it you've got certain areas of your home make up certain zones, and you choose 4 tasks to do each week in that particular zone. So
Mhm.
let's say if you're working on zone 2, which is the kitchen, and I'm going to pick 4 15-minute tasks to do. I might clean the microwave as one task. I might maybe clean the refrigerator
Mhm.
outside and inside and polish the finish on it. That could be a task. Or I might decide to clean the hood of the oven. Or maybe it's time to work in the laundry pantry, which is in my kitchen. Or it
Mhm.
could be, I'm going to deep clean the floor. So not just
Mhm.
mopping the floor in the areas that you kind of see, but getting around all the little nooks and crannies. So that's kind of the zone cleaning the way I do it. But your zone cleaning appears to be you clean a whole room on one
Mhm.
day and then you move on to another. So if that's your zone and it works for you, then it works for me. Because if it works for you, it's
Absolutely.
what's important.
Mhm.
Okay. And then we've got Cher at home who's joining us as well.
Hello.
It's good to see you.
Now, one of the things you had, Denise, was stock up on cleaning essentials.
Oh, yes.
And oh my goodness, I have to say that very quietly because I have a tendency to stock up probably too much. And the big guys usually going around, oh my gosh, do you need 5 bottles of spray away? So be reasonable when you stock up and have a place for it to go.
This is true. However, one thing though, when you talk about stocking up on cleaning essentials, as you prepare your pantry, your extended pantry, or your four
Mhm.
corners pantry, as Mary calls it, you do want to stock up on your cleaning supplies in addition to your food supplies. And who knows what supply chain could be like in 2025. So stocking up on some cleaning supplies probably is a good idea. Whether or
It
not you need 5 or 10 bottles, now I don't know.
Inquiring minds.
Yeah.
You
So,
know,
and then tip number 3, do you want to take that one?
sure. Decluttering 5 minutes a day. I love that because it allows you to just take those small steps every day. I used to do this, but I did it as I was coming home from work. I had like 30 minutes before everybody hit the house. And so I would take a certain amount of time, and that was my time to go around and make sure that things were back to where they were supposed to be. And if something really did need decluttering, I had a chance to at least get started on it today, and then I could finish it up tomorrow. And so decluttering, we want to do because we don't want to be overwhelmed. And so you just have to choose your areas. For me, it's my bathroom linen closet. I don't know why. I have the hardest time keeping that closet clean. What is it? And so I have promised myself that for 2025, that linen closet is going to stay clean.
I don't have a problem with my linen closet. I have kind of pared down how many linens I have, and I've used a system with some baskets and a few things like that. So,
Mhm.
and plus, he never goes in there. I'm the only one that goes in there. If Kyle's, I have things in his bathroom for him to get access to. If I need to switch things out, I do that. So I don't have a problem with the linen closet. My problem is the kitchen pantry, the working pantry. He rarely goes into the extended pantry, and he says he can never
Mhm.
find anything in there if he does. But the working pantry, I've got those old-fashioned deep cabinets.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
put things in the back and then things in the front, you can't see what's in the back. Or if you're looking for something in the back and you move things aside to
Mhm.
grab what's in the back, sometimes those things don't always get put back where they go. So I'm
Mhm.
working on that pantry this week. But yes, that is my problem area. So one of my goals for 2025 is number one, to really declutter that pantry and
Mhm.
only keep in there what I absolutely need. And there's probably some things in there like my false craft canister set. It's
Mhm.
got 3 canisters, a large, medium, and small, and I
Mhm.
use them to store my canning lids in.
Mhm.
Instead of flour, sugar, and cornmeal, I've got canning lids in there. So I'm like, why do I need 3 jars in the pantry with canning lids in them? I
Mhm.
don't. So I'm going to take 2 of those out. I don't want to donate
Mhm.
them because I might decide
Mhm.
I want to go back to putting flour, sugar, and that kind of thing in them,
Mhm.
but I'm going to do some work there. And then my goal, one of the things that I'm supposed to do from Fly Lady Cat's um, cleaning system is to do a clutter stop 3 times daily. And that's just to put things that have a home, but that are out of place where they go.
Mhm.
I'm going to try this like as part of my evening reset that you talked about. Just
Mhm.
check the pantry and see what's out of place and just kind of reorganize it real quick, put things where they go so
Mhm.
that in the morning I can get in and out of there and things are fine.
I may have to add that to the list too, because my pantry right now is a hot mess. And it's because, well, I've been doing the Christmas cooking and all that. And you just kind of, you don't want it out on the counter. So you just kind of throw things back into the pantry. Well, I'm going to have to go and straighten it up before company comes next week.
Yes. I've been working on mine for the last 2 days, and I got
Mhm,
interrupted today because I had to go to the grocery, but
mhm.
it's going to be done by Monday. So,
Yep.
I think, let's see. Carol says her bathroom, she does her daily swish and swipe, and she also does a load of laundry every day when she gets enough to do a load. Honey, my husband generates as much laundry as a 2-year-old. So trust me, I have enough every day. But she cleans up her kitchen after her meals, and before she
Mhm.
goes to bed, she shines her sink. I love it.
I
I
do
love it.
too.
And then she says, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, please. We will
Thank you, thank you.
accept that. And then Alexandria and her husband Robin. Thank you for
Aw.
joining us. This is the second week on their full-time RV adventure, so small space tips would be fabulous.
Oh, wow.
To put on the list for 2025, small space tips
Mhm,
for small space kitchen cooking, because you know they're gonna have a
mhm,
little tiny kitchen on an RV.
mhm. Okay.
You wrote that down. Oh, and look what Hillary said. Ethel, thank you so much. She says,
Thank
look, those
you.
lovely little elves. And then Tammy has a deep pantry, so she puts small items in baskets because if she
Mm,
doesn't, they get lost in the back. I have baskets in some things. I put some little racks and tiered trays, and I've got all kind of little tips. But still, you have that space in the middle that
mhm.
people just end up shoving things in. And most of the time, the people is me, but every now and then, the people could be he. So, all right,
Yeah.
let's get on with it. So, but yes, also when you're doing that decluttering, as we look at 2025, let's look at decluttering with a purpose. So
Mm,
I've already started that. So I was working in my closet the other day and I saw a couple of things that my granddaughter might like. She likes
mhm.
vintage items. So she took things out of my closet and they're vintage.
Okay.
Cardigan sweater, or maybe
Mhm,
there could be some kind of little item that is vintage now, which
mhm.
I guess it would be vintage for her. She's 21. And if she can go Goodwill shopping and find some of these things, it's vintage.
That's cute.
About that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about some for gifting, and of course that includes, our donating, being able to, and that's a big thing that as we're decluttering, is to be able to have a container ready for donations, a container, kind of direct what you're doing and where you're putting it, and it gives you a system as you're decluttering. And I have a basket that I keep for donations, and some donations go directly to, say, the Goodwill. Other donations go to our church
Mhm.
that we volunteer at, and so those are things that we have to keep in mind.
Okay.
Having a system.
Now, Hillary says that she needs a system that's friendly to those of us with health issues and restrictions. And that's one of the reasons I like the
Mhm.
Fly Lady cleaning system as well. Because
Mhm.
if you follow that system, if you need to step out a day, you just step back in wherever you are. So if
Mhm.
you do your daily swish and swipe, and let's say on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you did the daily swish and swipe, but Thursday, you just couldn't get out of bed, it'll
Mhm.
still be um, you know, reasonable enough in there that if you have to skip a day, it's okay.
It's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have to give ourselves some grace.
Mhm.
We're just not going to be able to be the super women every day. And even though we try.
So Madeline wants to know our thoughts on things that have been handed down by family that you really don't want, but aren't sure if you should get rid of it or not. Oh, like my niece Zaria, she's 7. She goes, honey, I get it. Because I got a lot of stuff that when my mom died, my sister just brought them over here thinking I would want them. And what I've decided now is that everything you have in your home is inventory that you have to manage.
Yeah.
So if it's something that you really don't want, what you might consider doing is seeing if there's some other family members that may want it. Like I
Mhm.
have this little angel that I haven't used it for about the last 5 years. For some reason, I just don't care for it anymore. It lights
Mhm.
up, it's electric, it moves around. I call it a little Chucky doll. So it's I don't want to have it on anymore. But I bought one, and my mom bought one at the same time. We bought it at
Mhm.
Frank's Nursery and Crafts, which has been going for
Uh-huh.
at least 30 years.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so I really haven't wanted to get rid of it because, we both had one.
Mhm.
And then my sister has the one my mom had. So I'm going to see if any other family member wants it. And if they
Mhm.
don't, then I'm going to donate it to a shop that I know that does a really nice job with the way they manage their heirloom things. You can go into
Mhm.
their glassware department and you
Mhm.
swear you at Macy's. The way they line things up,
Wow.
and you can tell that someone has donated items from their loved one's china
Mhm.
cabinet. And they
Mhm.
really take good care in displaying these pieces.
Mhm.
So if no one wants it, then I think I may take it there. And then there's another place that our mission runs called the Treasure House that does
Mhm.
Christmas in July.
Oh.
We'll go there looking for things. So I'm going
Mhm.
to donate that. But I guess the answer is don't be held hostage to items that you don't want. If you feel like you want to keep the memory of it, take a picture of it and
Right.
put it in a book. But
Mhm.
if another family member wants it, and then if they don't, then donate it. What do you think, Leona?
I am so guilty. I am so guilty. I just thought about this. The grandkids were over here a couple of weeks ago, and I had this turkey that I know the turkey was about a foot tall, but he was a centerpiece, and I call him George. So George was on the dining room table, and I'm thinking, this is George's last year, but I didn't want to get rid of George, and so I thought, well, the kids always come in and say, "Hey, George," as they're coming through. And I thought, hey, guys, why don't you all take George home? So we bagged George up, got him wrapped up, and I sent George to their house. Well, I asked but you're going to laugh. I asked my granddaughter, I said, what did your mom say when George came to your house? She said, Mom, she said, she and Dad looked at George and went, They said, take it up to the third floor.
Yeah, but next Thanksgiving, the kids will get George out. And it's really funny the kind of things that they kind of grab onto because I had these little juice glasses, which I had gotten thrifting. I had about eight
Mhm.
of them.
Uh-huh.
And I always used them for juice, and they just only held about 3 ounces. And I would get them out when the grandkids were here and put juice in them. So one year I thought, you know what? We don't need all these juice glasses. I got rid of them, all of them except for three. And I keep one in each of the bathrooms upstairs and one in the cabinet. And we could put the toothbrushes in them and I can swap them out. So Morgie was like, where are those little juice glasses? I said, oh, I donated them. She says, what? I look forward to drinking out of those when I come here. Who knew? But they're gone.
They're gone. They're gone. So George is out of my house.
The juice glasses went to the Goodwill.
He has a new place.
So
Oh,
Jay made it live, and then
yeah.
Madeline says thanks. So yeah, Madeline, don't be held hostage by things. Let those things go. Okay, so I'm trying to not talk too much, Leon. So if you
Okay.
need to remind me, Denise, you
That's
know how I
beautiful.
can be.
Okay. All right. So you want to talk about our command center?
Yeah, number 4 is to create a command center in your home. And this would be like you take a bulletin board or an area of your home where you have like little pockets and folders and things like that to help you keep track of what's going on with your family. And my daughter did a good job of that. Whenever I would go visit, there'd be this board on her refrigerator. There'd be little magnets and things, and it would have different people's appointments. There might be a little pocket for this or that.
Mhm.
She kept all that stuff organized. And I must admit, I wasn't quite as good at that when I was a young homemaker,
Mhm.
but she's much more organized in many areas than I am. So that's something that you can consider doing. And the clutter bug did a whole show about a command center.
Mhm.
So I think that's something good that you could consider doing today. What do you think about that, Leona?
I think that's true. Now I'm the large calendar person. I always have a large calendar. When the kids were here, I had it on the refrigerator, and now, of course, I use a planner. But there's just something engaging about writing the information down on the calendar,
Mhm.
and it helps with memory. It helps, it commits you to whatever it is that you're putting on that calendar, and plus it's a place for the family to be able to go by and say, oh, I've got to do such and such.
Mhm.
Or if they're, I know what really helped was when the kids had activities to do, and perhaps I was supposed to be the one to drive or to pick up in the afternoon, and I forgot, and I could look on the calendar and see, oh, today's my day,
Yeah.
and I knew I could go. So the calendar's great.
So yeah, so have a calendar, like you said, that you can use for all the family members to keep track of everything. And the planner helps too, but like the big calendar on the wall is certainly a way to get the family engaged in that as well. So they can be taught to look on there to see what's going on. Okay. Well, let's talk about weekly planning, weekly meal things. Let's talk about that.
All right. Well, this is my thing.
Mhm.
I like being able to sit down and put the week of meals down on paper.
Mhm.
And the reason for that is because then I can take that list, make my grocery list, shop my pantries, and see exactly what it is that I need. And, some weeks, for instance, this past week, I didn't go to the grocery. I made sure that I shopped the pantries and made meals from the pantry. And the reason for that was because I knew I needed to clear some things out.
Mhm.
And, now's a good time to be able to do that, to be able to rotate some of the things that you have. I had some things in the freezer that I really needed to use. So I went ahead and I used those this week. And so, being able to make a meal plan that allows you to have a good selection. For those who are new at planning, then you might have those themes where, on Tuesday it's going to be something like Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
I know, for us, it was on Friday, it was fried fish. On Saturday, it was hamburgers. On Sunday, it was fried chicken. So every day had a particular theme.
Mhm.
And that's the way I started. And then as time went by and I had more meals under my belt, then I could start to be more creative with the meal planning. But, for those of us who are trying to keep our budget friendly and to save time, then when you plan your meal, you know what it is that you're going to be doing that week. You can do the preparation for it. Some of those dishes, you may be able to even go ahead and put them together
Yeah.
and either put them in the freezer or put them in the refrigerator and bring them out so that you can cook them and still be able to have a regular routine in spite of trying to get dinner on the table.
Mhm.
So, update. I like this. Update your recipe box. It's funny, only you and I would be talking about a recipe box
Mhm.
because we had physical recipe boxes. And
Mhm.
now most of the kids now have their digital recipes that they have. And I noticed on Thanksgiving that the kids were that they had everything on the phone and they were flipping through the phone and setting that up, and that's really nice. But I want to see it, I want to feel it, and I want to touch it.
Well,
And
not only that, but I don't want to get flour dough or little sprinkles all over the screen of my device.
yes, on my phone. I wanted to stay clean. And they just laugh. They think it's so funny. But, so some things that we can do, I recognize the fact that perhaps I'm using paper. Yes, I have books, I have cookbooks, I have all those things. But I have certain places for those. and they're designated places and designated books. And I'm trying to scale back on the number of cookbooks.
You know, I decluttered my cookbooks 2 or 3 times, and I keep buying more. And I showed you one that I just got in the mail yesterday. I went to the half price books in Baltimore. I finally decided that cookbooks are my thing.
Mhm.
I'm going to have cookbooks, and I like sitting down and flipping through the pages and look
Mhm.
at a cookbook like I'm reading a novel, learning new
Mhm.
techniques and things like that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have those. But also the thing about those recipe boxes and recipe cards, when my daughter got married, I sent out recipe cards to all the family members and asked them to mail her one of their best recipes. And I put the
Mhm.
envelope and the stamp on it. So all they had to do was fill out the card and
Mhm.
mail it to her. And I bought her a Longenberger recipe box so she could just,
Mhm.
so they could put things in it. And she
Mhm.
still has that box. And there are some family recipes that are in there.
Mhm.
We got a few recipes in there that I don't have. So it's like, okay, I need to get some of those recipes for some of the folks that are still here
Mhm.
on. Because I asked my cousin, I said, can I have your pound cake recipe? She said, well, get it from your daughter. I gave it to her.
Ah.
You know, but that's a way to do that as well. And like Jerry is wanting your breakfast casserole.
Mhm.
She's going to need to write that down somewhere. Then
Absolutely.
put it in her recipe box and say, you know what? I got this from Miss Leona. And then we've got the family fruit salad. I make
Mhm.
wassail every year.
Mhm.
These are recipes that they're not going to find online. So
No.
yes.
No, and there is, I can say this, when my mom passed, my mom definitely was a recipe box person. And there was just something comforting to be able to pull her recipe box out and to see the recipes in her handwriting.
Yes.
It,
I'm having chills. Yes.
hmm, there
Well,
was just,
yeah, but I've got a couple of old cookbooks that were my grandmother's or great
mhm,
grandmother's. And
mhm,
when I opened them up, I have to use them very carefully because they're just so brittle now. But
mhm,
there were a couple of like index cards or just little notes that was written from, like 1890 something or,
mhm,
like 1922. So,
mhm.
yes. And, y'all can get that online.
No, no. And all the little special notes. And she was so good at leaving little tidbits, little extra tidbits.
Mhm.
And, it's fun to read. So I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to preserve all of that. And I'd like to be able to take that box and share it with the granddaughters since we have 4. And
Ooh,
so I don't know how I think I'm going to have to make copies and
yeah, you might have to
put
do
that
that.
together. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So DJ Whitmore says that she still has her bridal shower recipe box. It's 50 years old and she uses it all the time.
Oh.
So yeah, like when I got the one for my daughter, and
Mhm.
then Madeline said she has a recipe box.
Mhm.
Tammy says she has a recipe box, and then
All
Jay
right.
says she needs to get her command center off the kitchen island and then get things ready for 2025. So Lisa says she's proud that all of us have our boxes. She has hers plus her grandmother's that got passed to her mom.
Oh.
Oh, how lucky
Oh.
you are. That's so nice. That is really nice.
Mhm.
And one of the things that's on the list is talking about preserving family memories,
Mhm.
and telling stories. So yeah, this is really nice that you have that.
Absolutely.
And then Michelle says she loves her recipe boxes and cookbooks. She's also taken blank journals and written her favorite recipes on them. Her kids
Mhm.
call them the book.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, and let's see, what else do we have on that one? Oh, the binder. Remember, there was one lady that, oh, it was Cassandra that talked about
Mhm.
using a binder, creating a binder like this and putting
Mhm.
recipes and things like that in there for your grandchildren. So I'm working on
Mhm.
that one for Jordan. And
Yeah. And
okay.
I've got a composition book
Mhm.
that I put together and decorated for the girls. Well, and Bernie as well, the boy.
Yeah. The other thing too is like, your cookbooks or your binders, just decide
Mhm.
how you want to do that. And one thing I think that everyone should do for 2025 is learn a nice, hearty soup recipe,
Mhm.
something that's seasonal. So in the wintertime right now, some kind of nice, hearty soup could be a thick stew or something just to kind of, warm people up, but also something that's inexpensive.
Mhm. Mhm. That is true. That is true. And this is a good time to say, use your tools. Use your tools. You bought them, you might as well use them. And if you aren't going to use them, then gift them to someone else. Because to just have them sitting on the shelf so often, maybe you didn't buy it, perhaps that someone else purchased it for you, and you haven't found a way to use it. If you aren't going to use it, then find another family member who might like it
Tell them
and
what you mean
let
by
them have it.
tools.
Hmm.
Tell them what you mean by tools.
Your tools, your kitchen tools, your slow cooker, your KitchenAid, or whatever type of mixer that you have. Um, your cast iron. Oh my goodness, how valuable is that?
Your air fryer.
Um, yeah, your air fryer, your rice cookers. Those are things that are your pressure cookers. Those are tools that you want to be able to work into your meals. And I know I use my crock pot all the time. My rice cooker, when I'm not using the crock pot, I'm using the rice cooker. If I'm not using that, I'm using the air fryer. Use your tools and make good use of it.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I've started using my air fryer. And when I made that chicken in the air
Mhm,
fryer,
mhm,
Leona, I cannot tell you how surprised I was at how delicious it was and how quick and easy it was. And let me just say this real quick. If you're just joining us, I'm Denise Jordan, and I'm your host for Homemaking with Purpose. And it's our bi weekly show that we bring the best ideas, tips, and information for today's homemaker. And Miss Leona is the host for the bi weekly show, Life of a Home Cook. Again, where she's going to be bringing you the best ideas for home cooks, for today's homemakers. So today we are bringing you 25 tips to make 2025 your best homemaking year ever. And then tonight's episode of Homemaking with Purpose is brought to you by Apron Diva. You see my little apron back there on the thing. Pretty and practical. We believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. So shop now because quantities are limited. And I see here where Gloria says she would love to learn how to make homemade soup. Now, do you make soup every now and then?
Who are you talking about, Gloria or me? I
You,
make soup every week.
well,
Every week.
then that means, Gloria, you need to be checking out Miss Leona's channel.
Absolutely. There are lots of soup recipes on my channel, Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme.
And I'll bring that up in just a minute.
Mhm,
But Carol says she enjoys trying recipes on Pinterest. And then if
mhm.
she finds one, she wants to make it again, she puts it on a recipe card and puts it in a box.
Ah.
Okay. So, okay, so getting back to our tips, tip number 6 is to stock your pantry for convenience and emergencies. And that's something
Mhm,
I think that today's young homemakers really need to think about is that you really want to build a foundation of staples from things like rice and beans to
mhm.
baking supplies like flour and yeast and salt and sugar and those kinds of things.
That's true. And also be sure to have a good supply of canned goods that you're thinking, what can I put in my pantry that I can make a meal from? And soups come to mind. It's so easy to put together a soup with just pantry items.
Mhm.
You can certainly, if you have canned salmon, canned tuna, canned ground beef, whatever the protein may be, or no protein, you may use beans, but you have an opportunity to be able to think as you're making that plan to put some things into that pantry. So should something happened, and it could be weather related, that you may not be able to get to the grocery store for a week. And so, if that's the case, you have a well stocked pantry that you will be able to prepare meals for your family.
And here's Miss Leona's channel, Ebony, Ivy, and Time, with Leona Dooley, Life of a Home Cook. And she just has different little recipes on there every day, but she does a lot with soups and stews and other frugal recipes. So you definitely want to be sure to check her out. And I do have her linked in the description box already, but make sure that you do check her out. Okay.
Thank you, Denise.
So, hmm?
I said, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, let's back up for a second. So Gloria says her daughter stores canned goods in her fridge. Is that safe? I don't see the point in storing canned goods in a refrigerator unless it's something you're trying to chill. For example, I might put a can of cranberry sauce in the fridge a couple of days before the holiday so it can be nice and cold when I'm ready to serve it. But there's no point in putting canned goods in your refrigerator. They're fine on the shelf.
Absolutely. Or something like fruit cocktail you might put in the refrigerator, but that's just a short-term type of storage. Otherwise, it should be on the shelf. I'm not sure that those cans are really made to stay in that moist environment. That's something to think about.
And then Lisa S. says that she inherited cast iron skillets from her mother, aunt, and mother-in-law. Will it be weird to decorate the kitchen with those?
Oh, no. I think that would be great. Those cast iron skillets are valuable. I know I've picked up several of mine from the Goodwill. And even though my mother had a couple and I purchased a couple, but they're all different. And you'll laugh, I picked up the most recent one is actually a pie plate, but it's in cast iron and it's beautiful. Who would ever thought? I'd never seen anything like that. But absolutely, have fun. Use your cast iron. You can use it as decoration, but use it when it's time to prepare a meal.
Definitely. Okay. So we're talking about stocking the pantry and then also being sure to shop your shelves when you do go out to grocery, before you go out to grocery shop. And like you said, get creative using the things on your shelf. So that was tip number 6. Tip number 7. Oh, and then backing up to tip number 6, which is stocking your pantry, you do need to prepare for any possibilities. So seasonal related or supply chain related shortages that might result in your area. So if you stock your pantry, you can be prepared for that.
Absolutely.
And then
what about your furry friends?
Oh, yes. I have a furry friend now. So you do want to also stock up on pet food for your furry friends. And so when I went out today to stock up for holiday stuff, I did pick up an extra bag of cat food. I have a cat now. So I picked up an extra bag of cat food so that I'm trying to think ahead because, the Teamsters are talking about going on, not the Teamsters, that was something from listening to my son, the longshoremen. They were supposed to go on strike in September or October, and we had just had that big hurricane, and President Biden had convinced the unions, don't go on strike now. We got too much going on. We can't deal with strike and this. So they said, okay, we'll come back to the table to talk in January. So we just don't know what may or may not happen. So try to plan ahead so that you can be prepared, just in case there's some supply chain disturbances there. And then tip number 7 is to use a laundry schedule to avoid piles. You do not want Mount Washmore. So that's one of the reasons why I do a load of laundry every day. And like you said, laundry in, laundry out.
Oh, Denise, look at what Madeline said.
What? And what do you mean Amazon just approved the strike?
Oh, no.
Their workers? What's they going to do for Christmas delivery?
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so we're going to have to look into that. We don't have validating data for that, but we will look into it. And you guys, if it's true, you guys will probably find out about it as we do when we're trying to get stuff ordered in.
Yeah.
And then Hillary says she's got 2 recipe boxes, one from her husband's grandma from Kentucky in the 1930s to the 70s. Okay.
Aw.
Some nice family memories too. Also, Madeline says that she just saw it on a news flash this evening. So let's cross. Oh, you just saw it too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're gearing up to strike this week.
Right when everybody's got their last minute
Uh-huh.
Christmas shopping to do.
Their Amazon Teamsters authorized for strike. Oh, in Atlanta.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
You know, my son had talked about one of the reasons why the movie industry, when
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood went on strike, everybody
Mm-hmm.
was on strike. That included the people that bring the food, the people that do the
Mm-hmm.
graphic design. And so when the strike was over, things still haven't come back to normal because a lot of the work got sent to the UK because they were thinking the Teamsters were going to go on strike. And
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta is a big area for movie making that's not
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood. So Hollywood, Atlanta, and I don't know where else, but Atlanta's a huge area for movie making. So my goodness, okay. Well, back to laundry.
Lord.
One
Uh,
load a day. First thing in
mm-hmm.
the morning is my routine. Now, some of you might want to assign specific days to your laundry or just kind of get it all done. I know my friend Robin at Faith and Flower.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to get her laundry done all at once. So she'll spend 2 days just getting all the laundry done. So she's done with it for the week. But I heard you say you like yours to do a load every day. So
Mm-hmm.
this might be a good question to ask of the people that are on with us. How do you like to do your laundry? Do you like to do a load a day in and out because it's not done until it's been washed, dried, folded, and put away? Or do you like to wait and do it all on the weekends? When I was a young homemaker, I did it all on the weekend. So you spend all
Mm-hmm.
week working and then you spend all weekend cleaning the house and doing the laundry.
Doing the laundry.
Not
That doesn't even include the ironing.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I don't iron. When the kids were little, I might have had to iron a few things, but I just don't
Mm-hmm.
iron. I just don't iron
Mm-hmm.
anymore, except for my holiday tablecloth. That's the only thing. Other than that, I don't iron. But one of the things I do want to mention, though, when I talk about doing a load a day, is
Mm-hmm.
ladies and gents, don't have more than 2 laundry baskets in your house.
That's true.
What happens if you have more than 2? The laundry sits in the basket. One
Mm-hmm.
could be dirty and one could be clean. And then the next thing you know, laundry's piling up on the floor. I had a client that had 8 laundry baskets. And when
Ooh.
she got too many clothes that were either dirty or clean, she would buy another laundry basket. So no more than 2 laundry baskets in your house. One
Mm-hmm.
transfer laundry from the laundry area up to wherever you're going to fold it and put it away, and maybe one to put dirty clothes in to take it down to the washing area. But other than that, not more than 2.
Yeah.
Number 8, let me have you take that one, Leona.
Okay. Learn one new skill. Now, that can be sewing, that can be crocheting, that can be canning, that can be bread making. It may be that you want to, like for instance, it took me a while to get the sourdough starter just right so that it would make the bread. And so that was a skill I was working on. It took time. But once I've done that, then you have to practice and continue to do it. So definitely, Miss Denise and I did a biscuit recipe. Well, if you haven't tried it, then you should. Because today I made biscuits and, now, of course, the big guy, I'm going to say he was probably uh, trying to make me feel good, but he said, "Oh my God, these are the best biscuits you've ever made." And so I don't know if that was the case or not, but they were biscuits. I think he just wanted them. But anyway, you want a new skill, and the new skill is really for you, a
Or
sense of
you.
accomplishment,
Mhm.
something you want to do. Your one new skill may be that you like to do calligraphy, or it may be that it's keeping a planner.
Mhm.
And, that's a challenge. Everybody cannot keep a planner. And so those are skills that you may want to take into consideration along the way.
Now, when you talk about keeping a planner, one of the channels that I follow is the organized money.
Mm-hmm.
Her
Mm-hmm.
name is Natalie. Okay, I don't remember her name, but the
Mm-hmm.
organized money. She's a young woman from New Orleans, and she talks about how to make your planner work for you
Mm-hmm.
and how to manage your money using your planner. So I'll remember to put her channel in the description box so that you guys can consider checking her out too, because
Mm-hmm.
she does a great job in helping you learn how to use your planner and not give up on it halfway through the year. So definitely you want to do that. And then it could be like so many of you have said that you want to learn how to do water bath canning, make jams or
Mm-hmm.
jellies. And then I think was it Margaret that said she wanted to learn to make homemade soup. This
Mm-hmm.
is your year. 2025 is going to be your year to do that.
To do that. That's right.
And then tip number 9, declutter your digital space. Now I am terrible at that. If I look at my little number down here where it says email, I got 7,948 emails that I need to look at. Part of it is on my Gmail account, and part of
Mm-hmm.
it is on the MSN account, which I rarely use. So I really need to work on my digital hygiene. Like, so one of the things I'm going to do for next year is to spend 30 minutes, well, at least 15 minutes every day decluttering,
Mm-hmm.
meaning deleting email, going through and just getting rid of stuff that's clogging up my digital atmosphere.
I know, me too. I have thousands of emails out there, and I keep thinking, okay, well, all I have to do is hit this button and I can clear it all. But, it just seems like the next day I've got another thousand sitting there.
Mhm.
So that is something that sometimes it's hard to keep up with. Apps. I went through and got rid of apps that had just been sitting there taking up space, so I've done that part. And, but it's just good to be able to, it just clears the mind. Anytime you're decluttering, it is
Mhm.
a good way to clear your mind.
Absolutely. Um, And I tell you what, if you get too much digital clutter, like in your email, it'll
Mhm.
clog it up so that you can't even use it. It will completely block it. And then you are forced to go through and clear some of that out.
That's
So then
true.
tip number 10, and I'm trying to go a little faster because I've been chatting too much, is to rotate seasonal decor thoughtfully.
Yes. Yes. And I think we talked about that last week. The fact that whatever we've put out what we've done for this year. At least I did, and
Mhm.
I've decided that anything that I didn't touch, I'm going to gift somewhere else.
I said I was going to do that, but I did less decor than I normally do. So I have a
Mhm,
lot of things that I didn't use, but
mhm,
I kind of did things just a little bit differently this year.
mhm,
I thought, okay, I don't think I'm ready to give away some of these things, but
mhm,
like I decided I'm not going to use the snowmen anymore. So I got
mhm.
a whole bin full of snowman stuff that I plan to donate.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know some things I'm going to give to our church because they're doing more and more decorating.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, well, at least bulbs that I haven't used in a while, they're still good. I might be able to donate them and let the kids have them to do the children's tree or whatever. But
Yeah.
keep them in order.
Tip number 11 is to try a use what you have challenge. Now,
Hmm.
I did that on my Patreon channel, which was use it up challenge, and it worked out pretty good
Mhm.
because I had things that maybe a half a bottle or a third of a bottle of body wash that I hadn't
Mhm.
been using, but I switched over to something else. So a use what you have challenge though could be where instead of going out to buy something new, you use what you've already got.
Mhm. And use it up.
Hmm.
I'm bad about that, especially with cleaning products. Get something new come through, I'm gone.
And that so includes pantry staples. And as we look at 2025 and trying to be more frugal and a
Mhm,
better steward of our resources, is shopping our pantry to see, okay, what about those dates? Do we need to rotate out something that we've already got in?
that's
What needs to be used up? How creative can we get using what's
mhm.
on the shelf?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then tip number 12 is to find a productivity tool that you love. Now, I have really been struggling with that. Now, other than my planner, which I do love, like I'm a pencil and paper planner,
Mhm.
but I need to be able to organize my content better.
Mhm.
Shorts and videos, and then ideas, and then looking at analytics and just other
Mhm.
stuff with my Apron Diva business.
Mhm.
I need to find a resource that can help me do that because I like
Mhm.
pencil and paper. But what I
Mhm.
find is that I've got 5 or 6 notebooks with notes in all these different notebooks in all these different places. And I need to be able to bring them in one place so that I know
Mhm.
what it is I need to find and what I'm talking about. So I've been struggling with that. How about you?
Yeah, me too. I was trying to clean off my desk. I think I showed you my desk one day, and it is a mess. And it's mainly because of paper clutter. And I have recipes that those that I've tried. I've got recipes of those that I'm working on. I've got recipes of those that I know I like and I need to put that somewhere. I've got show things that of ideas and plans and all those kind of things. And it's everywhere. Now I know the piles, but if a good wind ever comes through, it's going to be it's going to be hard trying to put it all together. And so I had thought about a binder system of being able to kind of reorganize the items. But I'm a paper
Mhm.
person, so I know I'm always going to have some type of paper. I'll never go digital totally. So, and you'll love this. This year in 2025, no B6-stology. Ah,
Ah,
yes,
what
I
you talking
went
about,
to.
Willis?
You'll laugh. I went to a, they call it Jabun Techno, it's Jibun Techno Planner. And I like it. I like it. It's a perfect size. I can carry it in the purse or I can use it here. And it has just enough room for everything that I need to do. Now, it doesn't, there are some things it doesn't allow me to do. So I do have a happy planner behind that. So, but the happy planner stays on the desk. The techno goes with
Ah,
me. So I do have two, but at least I changed astrology for now.
okay. Well, let me just see what people have been saying. Uh, so Gloria says she does her laundry on Monday since she's retired, and she wants to know about your breakfast casserole. Is it easy?
Absolutely. It is easy. You're going to see that it's going to come together so fast. And you can put it together, say the night before or the day before that you want to use it. You can multiply it if you have a larger group that's coming. I'm going to do a smaller one, but you can certainly double it or triple it for the number of people that you have. And doesn't have a lot of ingredients, but it has a ton of flavor. So I think
Sausage,
you'll enjoy it. Hmm?
sausage and eggs.
Sausage, eggs, hash browns, cheese,
Yes, because
and
I
then
have
it
8, and my son thinks cheese is its own. Mother, my son-in-law thinks cheese is its own food group.
has, that's my granddaughter. She does too. We can't keep cheese in the house with her around, but you'll enjoy it. It's delicious.
So Hazel says she does clothes on Thursdays,
Hmm.
sheets on Fridays, and during the week as needed. So I have like in this little binder right here, I
Hmm.
have my laundry schedule. And when my husband was like working, when he retired from teaching, he got
Hmm.
a job as one of the red coats at the Coliseum. So they had to wear like white shirts with their red coats and all that.
Hmm.
So I had like white shirts to wash
Oh.
every week. And so I work on those. So I would do like sheets and white shirts on Monday. So he'd
Hmm.
have white shirts for the week and then dark clothes and other things on other days. But yeah, I would have a schedule for what I did on different days so
Hmm.
that by Thursday, I wouldn't have any more laundry to do.
Hmm.
Unless it was fishing season. Then I had laundry every day.
Oh, goodness.
Hey there,
Hey, Debbie.
David.
Yay.
Ooh, DJ's getting a great meal.
Oh,
Yes. So her new skill is gonna be learning how to make bread and other goodies. So she's gonna be, I guess, grinding her own.
yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Well, I got my KitchenAid and I want to learn how to make your rolls. That's my goal
Mhm,
for this year. I'm going to try to make
mhm,
it for Christmas, but I want to make
mhm,
dinner rolls this year. And then
mhm,
at my grandma's, we always had dinner rolls that Miss Harris would make. Miss
mhm,
Harris was like her best friend, and she always made grandma dinner rolls, and we'd have those for the holiday dinners.
mhm.
And one of her granddaughters, I see from time to time, and I know she works in the pharmacy at Kroger. I'm going to ask her if she has her grandma's dinner roll recipe. I would love to have Miss
Mm,
dinner roll recipe. I would just love
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
So, and then Madeline says she's unsubscribing a little each day. Madeline, I went through and I unsubscribed to a lot of things, but I am still getting so much stuff. But that's
Mhm,
my goal for 2025 is to work on that clutter.
mhm,
Get this off. Let's get back because I've been chatting quite a bit. So we talked about the productivity tools that we
mhm.
love. Was there anything else we needed to mention in regards to that?
No.
Good.
Um, Next would be our cozy touches to our home,
Okay.
creating that cozy gathering spot. And I am a blanket girl. So we have blankets, we arrange the blankets. And now that it's nice and cold, we can just keep those nice little comfy spots where we can go and snuggle with
Hmm.
our hot beverage. And we have to have a hot beverage station with ready for teas and hot chocolate and whatever it may be, so that we can sit together with our family. So if you don't have a good throw, that's something you might ask for Christmas.
Yes. And there's something called hygge, something like that. I don't know how to say it, but it's like hygge. It's a Swedish word for coziness. And I guess when it gets the days get shorter and it's darker
Mhm.
more and
Mhm.
cooler, they just really cozy up their home. So it's a real thing there where they put
Yeah.
out candles, more blankets, all the cozy things that you're talking about.
Mhm.
And it's spelled Hyggge. And I
Mhm.
learned about it from one of the fly ladies, not fly lady,
Diane. It's
Diane,
Diane. Uh-huh.
Diane in Denmark. She always talked
Mhm.
about that.
Yep.
But yeah, and like one of the things that when my daughter was here most recently, she was talking about how cold it was. And so I had little throws here and there that she could
Mhm.
just grab and um, cuddle up in. And she did turn the heat up to 75, but it's colder here than it is where she came
Yeah.
from. So yeah. Okay, so then tip number 14 is to simplify your wardrobe. Now, that is something I'm really going to work on. I need some new clothes. And so before I
Mhm.
buy some new ones, I want to just kind of really work on my wardrobe. So I want to work on decluttering my wardrobe and then focus on the pieces that I really love or that I wear
Mhm.
often, but also getting in some new ones that I will love equally as well.
That's true.
And my son, when I was talking to him recently, the one that lives in Georgia, he said
Mhm.
we complimented him on something he had on. He said, "Yeah, I got it at the Goodwill." I'm like, "What?" I was surprised, but he does a lot of the purchasing as the graphic designer or artist. One of the things he would do would be to purchase the different pieces of clothing for the actors to wear, depending on
Mhm.
what year it was, or
Mhm.
buy like pictures and different things that you would use in a home.
Mhm.
They'd have to acquire those things, and he would go to the Goodwill a lot of times to find some of that stuff. So
Oh.
he's been able to find a few things that he likes for himself. I'm like, really? He said, good,
Huh.
yeah. So Goodwill is certainly, well, thrifting, I should say, is certainly a good way to find items.
That's true. That's true.
Thrift shopping.
That sounds good. And simplifying definitely gives you an opportunity not only to simplify your closet, but
Mhm.
also it gives you a chance to share with someone else.
Well, exactly, exactly. So,
Now, Denise, I noticed that when I printed our tips off, for some reason or another, mine stopped.
Oh,
at 13. So I don't have beyond there. You'll have to keep me going.
oh, okay. Well, tip number 15 was to prioritize self-care as a homemaker.
Mm.
I'm gonna let you take that one.
Oh, yeah. Calgon, take me away. That is it
Mm-hmm,
in a
mm-hmm.
nutshell. If we don't take care of ourselves, we cannot take care of our family. And so we have to make sure that we do the things necessary, whether it's going to the doctor, whether it's making sure you take your vitamins, whether it's making sure that you hydrate every day. All of
Mm-hmm.
those things are part of your self-care. And when you do that, then you have more energy to be able to be the homemaker that you desire to be. So self-care, that's a biggie. When mama's happy, everybody's happy.
Well, not only that, but is if your glass is empty, what do you have to give to someone else?
Absolutely.
So you have to, like they tell you on the airplane, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you
Mhm,
to put it on your child. So
mhm,
you got to fill up your tank so that you can care for yourself, and then you've got something left over to give to others. So, and there's some things that you can do inexpensively to care for self. Like I've been taking a lot of baths lately,
mhm,
just filling the tub up. Like you said, Calgon, take me away.
mhm.
And so for those of you young homemakers that are like, what are they talking about? Well, Calgon was some kind of bubble bath or some kind of a bath product that the commercial would be like, Calgon, take me away. And you see this woman in this bubble bath with bubbles up to here, just relaxing. She'd be in the
Mhm,
bathroom with the door shut. And I remember sometimes when I used to work at the VA, when I was a young nurse, oh God, it
mhm.
was so stressful. I'd come home. By the time you get, dinner and everything done, I would go in the bathroom. I would lock myself in the bathroom because that was the only place I could get privacy. In the other room, the kids were walking in, and I would fill up the bathtub and just lay in there and just kind of let the stress soak out of me. So when we talk about Calgon, take me away, that's what we're talking about. So by baths, candles, tea,
Mhm.
giving yourself a nice cup of tea.
Yes. Or whatever your beverage of choice is.
Hmm,
I
hmm.
know doctor says have a glass of wine
My
and,
daughter likes a glass of wine in the evening.
so you can have a glass of wine in the evening to sip on. So definitely take care of yourself.
And candles too. A lot of people like to light
Mhm,
candles and
mhm,
enjoy themselves that way too. Okay. So, again, if you guys are just joining us, if you're new to our holiday collaborations, I am Denise Jordan, the host for Homemaking with Purpose. And we have with us Leona Dooley. She's the host for Life of a Home Cook.
mhm.
And we bring to you the best ideas, information, and tips for today's homemakers. So, check with us every week and we'll keep you on track. All right. Tip number 16 is focus on creating family memories. And I think we kind of had alluded to that, here and there as
Mhm,
part of that. But I think creating family memories is a way to really focus on family. And I think as you look for 2025, one of your goals could be to write family connection goals. So
mhm,
I put in my on my phone to call one of my sisters every week. Well, I didn't do that, but every now and then I would say, "Oh yeah, I got to call her today." But you
mhm,
could just put a reminder in your phone or on your calendar in your planner to call a certain person each day. And then one of the things that I started doing, because I need that family connection, is hosting Sunday dinner again. Now, my husband,
mhm,
we could never have company over and he'd be fine. I need company.
mhm, mhm.
I
Me
need
too.
people to gather around the table.
Mhm. There is just something special about bringing the family together, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Everybody bring a dish. Who cares what you're eating? It's just about all the conversation and the fun. And so,
Exactly.
mhm,
Exactly. And then one of the things that my daughter and her family did was they would have a family movie night. So like every
mhm,
Friday when the
mhm,
kids were younger, they don't have that
mhm,
now so much because the kids are away in college.
mhm,
They would do family movie night.
Mhm.
And, or so now that they're older, when we're there for holidays, we might do a game night or something like
Mhm.
that. And then my youngest son, him and his family, they always have a game night. So
Uh-huh.
these are things that you can do. So what kind of things does like Kim, your daughter, do with her family?
Well, they have family movie night, and they have game night. Their Friday nights are game nights, and it is wild, and but it's a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And they usually bring, they're trying to bring in new games and finding a way of being able to turn off the television, turn the phones are off, the computers off, and you are engaged right there with the family, and it's a lot of fun. You
Yeah,
have
it is. And I
the
really think about how different it is for us now, because when our kids were little, my husband coached. So that means
Mhm.
every weekend he was coaching.
Mhm.
So that meant every weekend me and the kids were at a ball game. And so
Mhm.
we would go to the ball game. I'd take my sisters with my younger ones with me. And
Mhm.
we sat at ball games every weekend, or the kids were running track and we were at track
Mhm.
meets every weekend, that
Mhm.
kind of thing. But now it's like kids aren't as engaged in so many other things quite as much. Or it could be too that I'm farther away. So I don't get
Mhm.
to go and do those things with them now.
Right. Right.
I get to see the pictures later, but then they'll still, when there's seasons, when it's off season, they do family game nights and different things
Mhm.
like that. So I'm wondering what our viewers do to engage with their family. Let me come over here and take a look. So Hazel takes baths with Dr. Teals to add to her
Mhm.
bath for foot soap. And she finds massage schools to get a massage on a budget. That's
Oh, I
when I
hadn't
used
thought
to
of
work
that.
at Tech, we had a massage therapy program, and
Mhm.
so the students would have to practice on somebody. So
Mhm.
the faculty could sign up to get a free massage. Oh, they were so good.
Oh, that's nice.
So then Carol goes to her beauty college, a local beauty college, to get a facial. Oh, I
Ah.
love facials, and you could get them very inexpensively because again,
Mhm.
you got to practice on somebody.
Mhm.
Madeline says a game night sounds like fun.
Mhm.
And Debbie makes a sugar body scrub. It makes your skin.
Ooh.
So yes. And you don't have to worry about it if you have diabetes. And I say that because I remember I was talking to a client once and they didn't want to try a sugar scrub because they had diabetes. And I said, it
Oh.
won't affect that. This is just on
Mhm.
your skin. It's just going to scrub on and off. So
Mhm.
you're good with that. But I thought, just in case,
You better add that.
that in. And the other thing about creating family memories, I got a book last Christmas that talked about creating family memories and being present using things that you already have. So, like you
Mhm.
all these pictures with your cell phone, create a way of putting them together, like in a scrapbook or sharing them at certain times. So,
That's true. We took a night and the grands were here, and I pulled out one of the big boxes of actual photos, and they were
oh,
so shocked because they can't believe that we have all of these photos where
yeah.
they have everything on the phone and we have real pictures. So
We
that was
did that too. The kids were here for a funeral, unfortunately, but they were here for a funeral, and so we got to sitting around talking, and my husband got out an old photo album, and just like you said, we were going through looking at all kinds of pictures, and they loved that. Tip
fun.
number 17, Leona.
All right, we're implementing a grocery. I pulled up my phone. We're implementing a grocery budget plan.
Wait, what? Back up. You did what? She was just talking about those grandkids.
I'm using it. I'm using it. um, we want to be able to shop those sales. We want to be able to perhaps use your cash envelopes if you're working cash, or you can try, of course, meal prepping on Sunday. I'm a meal prepper. I try to make sure that when I come home from the grocery, the onions, the celery, the potatoes, whatever it may be, I try to get those prepped for the week. And I get them in such an order that I can put them in the freezer, pull them out when I need them, and it makes the actual meal preparation very quick. Um, Also, being able to take it really only takes about 30 minutes of just chopping and dicing and slicing, to get it done. And just think of all the time and the energy that it saves on the other end to be able to do that for your week.
Well,
So,
and not only that, but when you talk about implementing a grocery budget, is that, you're also going to think about what is it, how can you save money
mhm,
for the upcoming year? Like, what can you do to just be a better steward of your resources and saving, having a budget that you follow is helpful. It's
it
just
is.
really helpful. And then you can also plan ahead, like even for your extended pantry, what are some of the things that you need to get for that budget?
Well, and that's one of the things I know we've talked about the fact that, as we're shopping, if we have a few dollars left over from our budget, to take those few dollars and to purchase some of the things for the extended pantry
Mhm.
so that you don't have to go out. For instance, we were buying green beans. It was our responsibility for our church to purchase green beans for this huge dinner for the homeless.
Mhm.
And so while I was purchasing green beans for the homeless that I was sharing with them, I also got a case for me. And
Mhm.
so that, we can pick it up at the same time. But one thing to keep in mind too is if you have a budget, stick to it as
Yeah.
much as possible. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. But most
Especially
of the
when you
time,
pull out your card.
oh,
If you're
oh,
using that debit card, but if
yes.
you're using the cash envelope,
Yep. Then you will stay to it because that's what you got. And
mhm.
sometimes you might just have to leave the card at home. Just leave it there
Yeah. And
and just take the cash.
I have to really think more about that because, like I said, I love to have Sunday dinner, and I don't ask people to bring anything. I just want them to
Mhm.
come because I
Right.
just want to be able to sit and just kind of chat. And
Mhm.
my husband be like, "Babe, we just had Thanksgiving, or we just had
Mhm.
Sunday dinner. Give it a break. Let's let's try to save a little money. So
Uh-huh.
I have to be more cognizant of that. Oh, see, one of my ears is like, what is your ear?
But one thing to keep in mind too is that the meal that you're having doesn't have to be extravagant.
No,
Not as detailed as a Thanksgiving meal or not as detailed as a Christmas meal.
no.
It can be spaghetti and a salad and a good bread and that you've
Yeah.
homemade.
Mm-hmm.
And, or it can be,
Madeline, she's talking to you.
so, you can keep it simple. It can be a chili night
Mm-hmm.
and, fix a couple pots of chili or one big, huge pot of chili and have a few chili fixings and bam, you're ready to go.
Well, and when I do Sunday dinner, I usually just have it's almost always a roast
Mhm,
chicken or
mhm,
like a chicken breast. I
mhm,
mean a turkey breast, and then
mhm,
I'll make dressing, and we'll have greens and
mhm,
mashed potatoes with gravy,
mhm,
corn, and that's it. Just
mhm,
simple. Same thing
mhm.
every Sunday. And
Uh-huh.
so it's like, what are we having on Sunday? A roast chicken. Or what are we having later in the week? Chicken and dumplings or some kind of chicken soup,
Mhm,
whatever.
mhm,
But just having that in mind helps me to plan ahead, and then I can
mhm,
save a little money because if we do have the roast chicken on Sunday, then that gives me some leftover chicken possibly to
mhm,
have on another day. But I have
mhm,
reduced the number of Sunday dinners, especially since like we're doing Christmas, and
mhm,
then on usually on New Year's we get invited out. So,
mhm.
but yeah, so okay, I'm going on off around the line. Sorry about that. Let's go with the next tip, which is organize a drop zone. For me, that is so important. Now, I don't
Mhm,
have a big drop zone. My husband will walk past the closet to go into the living room to drop his hat and coat on a chair. I have finally realized that that's just what he's going to do.
mhm,
And I might as well just not worry about it or not get uptight about it.
mhm,
And I've been thinking a lot about that lately because I've talked to a few women, who have lost their husbands and they wouldn't
mhm.
mind picking that hat up off that chair.
That's
So
true.
I'm like, okay, that's just what he does. He drops
Hmm.
it on the chair. So that's where those things go. And then I'll come in, I'll pick them up, and I'll hang it up in the closet. And then there's a little spot in the hallway where we can put shoes underneath a bench.
Hmm.
And that's about it. But for those of you that have like large mud rooms with little
Hmm.
cubbies or hooks, now, what do you guys
Hmm.
do for that? Do you have one of those?
No, this house didn't come. That wasn't the going thing when this house was built. But I made a place at the bottom of the steps, right off the garage door,
Mm-hmm.
and where we have a place where we can hang jackets. And I found that to end up as a clutter spot because you end up with far too many jackets, far
Mm-hmm.
too many pairs of shoes, and so you end up at least every couple of days going through, hanging things up,
Mm-hmm.
and taking the shoes where they're supposed to go. So those are some of the things that, they have a good point, but it can get a little wild. So you just have to keep them under control.
Well, we have a drop zone for keys. My
Hmm.
husband carved this fish. Of course, it's a fish.
Of
He
course.
carved a fish and he painted it. It's got like little scales, little fins, and all that stuff on it. It's really
Mhm.
kind of cute. It has grown on me. When he first made it, I'm like, you're not putting that on the wall. But he did. I've adjusted to it now. And it's got hooks on it for the keys. And so whenever you come in the house, you're going to put your
Mhm.
keys on the fish. Because keys can disappear in a house quickly.
That's true.
Have little children.
Hmm.
So we put the keys on the fish. If you come over and you set your key on the table, I'm gonna put your key on the fish. Because when you say, "Where are my keys?" I'm gonna say on the fish. So you always know where the keys are. If nothing else, the keys are on the fish.
Hmm. Hmm.
Here.
Well, and that's a good routine. That's a good routine to be able to establish. And but with cars today, the newer cars, you've got the little fob, and my fob stays in my purse.
Well, mine stays in my first purse too, but he
Mhm.
has to keep his in his pocket all day.
Oh,
He
that's
but
true.
I will take the keys out and they'll lay it in a bowl or they're laid on the
Mhm.
table. So we put it on the hook.
Mhm.
Whereas in other homes, there might be like a little bowl on the hall
Mhm.
table that you drop the keys in, or you might have like a little basket that you drop the keys in. But you
Mhm.
need to find a place to drop things. And
Mhm.
then for you moms who has people coming in from school with book bags and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
where do you want them to drop those bags? Where do you want them to put those shoes when they're ready to take them off? That kind of thing.
Mhm.
Those are things you're going to want to determine for 2025.
And if you can put those drop zone in a place so that when you come in your front door, they aren't necessarily seen,
Hmm.
to kind of keep the clutter from the front door.
Yeah. Well, my living room is right off the front door,
Hmm.
and the coat closet is right there in the hallway in front of the front door. But again, we come in the garage door,
Yeah, we do too.
walk through the family room, through the kitchen, down the hallway, past the closet.
They do what they do.
Okay, now
I'm,
this is
look,
a good one.
I'm, I'm looking at 19 to repurpose those leftovers. We have talked a lot over at least 2 years of talking about trying to prepare dishes that we can cook for today
Mhm,
and have some left over for another day.
mhm.
And if you're like my household that doesn't like leftovers, I've got to really be able to repurpose it. It has to look like something else when it comes back. So I had to learn how to do that. But it's either that or you divide it, package it, put it in the freezer, bring it out another week
Mhm.
later on when they've forgotten about whatever you had that day, but you're using your leftovers. You are wasting nothing. And that's the main thing, to cut back on waste.
And I made red beans yesterday for dinner.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I can do with the beans that are left over is put them in a soup later in the week. And I want to make your pasta fagioli soup. I
Mm-hmm.
saw the recipe and I thought, oh my goodness, that just looked amazing. So I want to try that soup. But that's one of the things that you can do with your leftovers is put those leftover veggies in soups and stews and different things like that. But yeah, you've got to learn to do that. And I made meatloaf a couple of weeks ago and I made two. When I made them, I put one in the freezer for a
Mm-hmm.
week later or 2 weeks later. And then one of them we used that week. We had one
Mm-hmm.
for dinner, or whether part of it for dinner and then part of it for lunch. So
Absolutely. I think that's what I'm going to do with the breakfast casserole. I'm actually going to do two, and I'll have one to be able to serve immediately, and then I'll have another that's already put together that we can use at a later time. So, and that saves with your cooking and keeps you on task and keeps your budget friendly.
right, right. So, if you're just joining us, let me just say again, you have me, Denise Jordan from Homemaking with Purpose. You've got Leona Dooley from Life of a Home Cook, and we collaborate together during the months of October, November, and December for the holiday prep to help get you guys ready. And this is our last show of the year. So we're giving you 25 tips to help you get ready for 2025.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's go to tip number 20. And you see, we're speeding up a little bit because I have been chatting too long. So celebrate with no homemaking.
Oh,
You, Miss
absolutely.
Leona has already done that.
Yeah, we're working on the small changes for each season. And I know on both of our channels, Miss Denise used to have, I loved her tiered tray um, that we used to do. And that's really where she and I really got to know each other very
Yeah.
well, of participating with the tiered tray challenge. And but with that, that gets you into the mood of being able to put your house together so that when someone walks in, they know immediately what season it is. And it's so welcoming when you walk through the door. And along with, I noticed you noted the soups in the fall. The soups during the fall, the winter, those very hearty, comfy dishes. Those are the things you're going to want to prepare during that time period because you want the people who are coming into your home to feel the warmth in your home.
Hmm. Okay. And then in the spring and summer, you could do like flowers on the
Mhm.
table or just little touches because, especially if you have children,
Mhm.
it just helps them to think more cozily about their home
Mhm.
as they see the different seasons change in the
That's
home as well as in nature. So that's something you can do there.
mhm.
And then tip number 21 is to involve your family in daily chores.
I did that a lot. Everybody had a task. They knew when they came home from school, you had something you needed to do. And the only person, and they got their chores done. The only person that didn't get it done was the big guy. Now I have to admit, I don't do anything outside the house. I'm not cutting the grass. I'm not doing any of that. He
Yeah.
was good. He's great about that. But as far as inside, forget it.
You know, the kids always had chores to do. They did the dishes and things like that. We didn't have a dishwasher, so they
Mhm.
washed the dishes. The two older ones, the twins, they took different days and stuff like that. And it was always a problem. But I realize now that it would have been so much easier if we were all in the kitchen together. So what I encourage today is that everybody helps with the after dinner cleanup.
Mhm.
Somebody is washing dishes, somebody is doing something else in the kitchen. Maybe mom or dad is cleaning the stove or,
Mhm.
but everybody's working together to get it done. And we could have
Mhm.
had that done so much more quickly with a lot less angst.
That's true.
Something I've since learned. So
Mhm.
I try to share that bit of knowledge with our young homemakers for today, but definitely involve everyone in daily chores. And it
Mhm.
doesn't just have to be in the kitchen,
That's true.
in the bathroom. I think I was talking with Trey the other day when she was doing her cleaning her bathroom
Mhm.
that she could get her kids to help in there too, because she was saying how sometimes they're messy. And I was like, get them
Mhm.
to help you cleaning up. You don't have to fix
Mhm.
everything.
That's true.
So
That's
there's
true.
to do too. And then in something else to consider is design a no spend month. Now, Kate Kate Caden, I think that's her name, Kate
Mm-hmm.
Caden of a Frugal something or another.
Mm-hmm.
She is very thrifty and she talks about, saving money for families and all of that. And she
Mm-hmm.
does a no spend either January or February every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried it one year. Couldn't wait till the month was up so I could spend some money. But you can really save a lot if you give yourself a
Mm-hmm.
no spend month, just a moratorium on spending, other
Mm-hmm.
than, stuff you absolutely positively have to.
Mm-hmm.
But like no Amazon shopping, no extra grocery shopping other than maybe fresh produce, because that only lasts for a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that. And it does help you to kind of refocus on your budget and that kind of thing.
That's true. That's true. I'm not good at that, but I'll certainly, I'm willing to try.
Mhm. Well, and you could challenge yourself to only buy essentials, or maybe you've got a goal that you're working towards, and you guys could plan on saving those things, saving that extra money for maybe a trip to Disney, or like I want a new kitchen, I want a new pantry doors, or I want this
Mm-hmm.
or that. I did a new dishwasher. You could like save the money and put it towards those treats like that. So that's
That's true.
certainly something to think about. And then tip number 3, and especially as we think about um, holiday shopping right now,
Mm-hmm.
plan frugal gifting for 2025.
Now I made jams to share as my frugal gift,
Mm-hmm.
and made bread, or we'll have the bread ready for when I hand out the jam. But I decorated my jars. All of that's done. The cards are ready to go, and I did it last year, and I just kind of gave them out. And so this time I was a little more intentional. So I have names on everything so that everybody will get one. And but frugal gifting, being able to, whether it's something that it doesn't necessarily have to be jams. It can be whatever. It could be a pie. It could be like you were talking about, the lady who would share the rolls. I have had a friend who would bake rolls, and her gift would be the roll, or the gift might be a German chocolate cake, or
Ooh,
something like that, or coconut cake that someone. Because let's face it, making those cakes, that is a labor of love, and
it
that's really what
is.
it's all about. Hmm.
Okay, so then when we look at tip number 24, I believe this is a biggie. Plan
Hmm.
a no phone hour.
Absolutely. I like to do that at dinner time. Cut the phone off. No texting, no looking at pictures, no nothing. Phone, go somewhere else until dinner is over. The focus is on the family.
Yeah, exactly. I know if the phone's always ringing and you're looking at your texts or scrolling through your phone, how much time are you spending with one another?
That's true. And that's one of the things that for the our younger generation that we're finding is that they are not communicating as well as they should with each other.
Hmm.
And so we can help them by having a no phone hour or no
Yeah.
game hour.
And that makes them have to talk to one another, have to talk to the
Mhm,
family. You have to look at one another, and you
mhm,
can certainly have a conversation and find out what's going on with them. So I like the idea of a no phone hour.
mhm.
For us, it would be more like a no TV hour because,
Yes.
typically when we're sitting at the table, my husband will sit so that he can see the game. And I learned that from where he's sitting, he can see the reflection of the TV in the window. So he can sit there and be watching the ball game in the window. I'm not kidding. So, yeah. Or, you see those commercials where you see the men with their phone out or they're under
Mhm.
the kind of, and they're watching the ball game at a wedding or something.
I
He's one of those men.
know. Yeah, I got one of those too.
Yeah. So yeah, I can certainly see a no phone hour for families. So not just with
Mhm.
littles, but for big ones too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And that'll just help to establish the family connection. And one
Mhm,
of the things that I'm hoping you guys think about for 2025 is establishing more family connections. And
mhm,
then number 25 is write a homemaker's gratitude list. And what you want to think about is, what are you grateful for?
mhm, mhm.
I've been thinking more and more about that lately.
And you find that when you do that, that and you're intentional with it,
Hmm.
that it really brings to light how valuable certain moments are. Most of the time, our moments are passing by us so quickly
Hmm.
that, it's just kind of like, "Ah, okay." But when we write it down, then it really becomes special. And we need to note that.
The picture too. You can include
Hmm.
pictures in that, you know, list. So like maybe like with a little, I don't know, a journal, something like this,
Hmm.
or something else, like a little scrapbook kind of thing. As you've written down the different things, maybe you could even include a little picture that you've taken to help you commemorate that day as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's that to think about. And, the other thing is that as a bonus that I want us to think about was embrace family storytelling. Like I was telling the story about Mrs. Harris making the rolls for my grandma, that we would have those at dinner time. And I would like to get that recipe. I'm sure there's other family stories that one would like to hear. Like my mom used to tell how her and dad met.
Hmm. Hmm.
And my youngest son likes to laugh about it, and he would tease my father about it, when he was older. So you could learn a little bit of family history by
Hmm.
getting your elders to tell you what's going on, but then also get the littles involved to tell about their day and things that were going on with them. So
That's true. And once that becomes a thing, a routine, then they will share more,
mhm.
with everyone. And because usually we will tell whatever it is, but children aren't quite as comfortable sometimes sharing that information. So we want them to be very comfortable. We want them to ask questions that will enable us to answer and to give those stories.
Absolutely. So Madeline says, sounds great because I pointed out that you were talking about that soup for her.
Hmm.
And then Kathy says that we're smart and helpful.
Oh.
Madeline's got to jump off. She says it's been a great
Hmm.
show. She liked the information.
Hmm.
And Debbie said her mom used to can from her garden and she sewed and did crafting all year
Oh.
to give as Christmas gifts. So my mom used to do the same thing. She would make jams and jellies and that kind of thing. So we have been on here a while, longer than I thought we were going to be on here. So let me just wrap this up and just say that if you're joining us again, I am Denise Jordan, your host from Homemaking with Purpose. And then you've got Leona from Ebony, Ivy, and Time with the life of a home cook. And this is our last show of the year. And we just gave you 25 tips with a bonus to help you make 2025 your homemaking best
Yes.
year
Mm.
ever. And so we hope you found a few tips that it will inspire you to tackle your home with purpose, with joy, and with intention, and also reconnect, inspire, just really spend more time with family and be frugal about it.
Mm.
But remember, as Miss Neola said earlier, homemaking is not about perfection. It's about creating a space that's filled with love, with comfort, and that connection that we all want as family. So before we go, you guys can drop us a note over here in the chat. Let us know what tip resonated with you most. So, or rather, yes, let us know what resonated with you most. If you're on the replay in the comment section, leave us a note
Mhm.
to let us know what resonated with you most.
Absolutely.
That way, as we work on our 2025 content
Mhm.
schedule, we know what to bring to you. And speaking of next time, let me remind you guys that this is the last show of the year, and the first show of the year will be on January the 8th, and that will be with Miss Leona as Life of a Home Cook. So Leona, you want to tell them a little bit about that show?
Absolutely. Our first life of the home cook is going to be one that's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to actually do a little planning. I want you to come with some thoughts about 2025, your kitchen thoughts, those things that you want to learn about. And let's talk a little bit. Bring your notebook. Yep, bring it, because we are going to get deep into the life of a home cook. What do we do? How do we do it? And how can we improve it? And as we improve it, we want to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
So all of those things are going to be a part of that first show. So I am so excited. This has been an amazing holiday season to be able to sit down with my sister, Denise Jordan. And this is our annual get together of being able to come to you and to share information. I hope you have certainly enjoyed every moment.
And don't forget to tell them about your sourdough series.
Oh, I have a little book that is over on Etsy at Ebony, Ivy, and Time that is on becoming a sourdough master. And you're going to see that I'm going to be doing more and more sourdough as we go into 2025. And there are going to be some things that are going to be coming up even during Christmas week and New Year's week. There'll be a few things that'll be coming up that while we won't be live, that doesn't mean that we won't be bringing some things to you. So you'll be able to see those things that we are going to bring, because we don't just come up with these tips. We are trying to practice these tips for ourselves and before you as well. So that
And
you
Leona,
know.
don't forget to send me the link to your sourdough mastery.
Okay.
And then I can put it in the description box, so then they can go find you to find
Okay.
it, and put it in the link for, I think on your side. I don't know if it's empty or not.
Okay, it's empty right now.
Okay,
It's
so
empty,
you got
but
to
I'll
put it
make
in there.
sure I put it in there as
Yeah.
well. And for those who want that breakfast casserole, let's see, today's Wednesday, probably tomorrow, we will be working on that breakfast casserole live. So be on the
What
lookout
time
for it.
tomorrow? Do you know?
I don't know what
Okay,
time.
we'll just be on the You can put us a note on your community tab.
I
That we
will. I
can
will. I will.
Okay.
All right.
All right, then let me invite you guys to sign up for our newsletters, and I'll put the links to our newsletter in the description box below. And then if you want to sign up for my Laundry Lab challenge, you can do that. And we will see you guys next time.
You see who jumped in at the end? We got Sue. Yay. Hey,
Oh,
Sue. Haven't seen you in a
no.
while. Mwah. It's good to see you.
Yes, it is. Good to see you, Sue.
Yeah,
You're going to have to catch the replay.
absolutely. Because,
All right.
man, we brought it today.
We
But
did.
Merry Christmas to all of you, and happy holiday. Have a blessed new year. Just enjoy yourselves and enjoy your family.
All right. And then Carol said she loved all the tips. Great show. Merry Christmas to everyone, and to all a good night. Leona, you stay right there, and we will see you guys in the year.
Yeah,
Bye.
absolutely. Bye-bye.